RhysJura here, bringing you my guide for Reinhardt. Today we'll be looking at everything from the basics all the way to some more advanced plays, such as weaknesses, strengths, combos, good team comps, and everything in between. I hope you enjoy. I played a lot of Reinhardt in the closed beta. He's easily one of my favourite heroes in the game due to how strong he is and how useful you feel when you play him. There's rarely a game where picking Reinhardt is a bad call. So, let's get into his abilities. His primary attack is his rocket hammer. I know, right? Rocket hammer. It's fucking amazing. Reinhardt will swing his hammer in an arc in front of him. This does a load of damage. However, it is obviously very short range. It is useful to note that this will pierce through targets and hit everyone in this arc, which makes it even more deadly. His secondary weapon ability is his shield. This shield is really the bread and butter of Reinhardt, and I'll go into it in a lot more detail in a later section. When used, he will deploy a large rectangular shield in front of them. The shield will block 2000 damage before it has to be recharged and is no longer usable. His E ability is called Fire Strike. It's its only ranged attack, and it has a 6-second cooldown, so it cannot be spammed. It's a medium speed projectile, which means the enemy can dodge it, but it does a decent amount of damage and goes a decent amount of distance as well. Also, it ignores shields, such as Reinhardt, so it can be used to pierce through the front line of the enemy team and pick up foes off at range. Shift causes Reinhardt to charge forward, grabbing the first hero he collides with and doing massive damage to him when he smashes into a wall. I mean like one shot sort of massive damage. It'll also stun him, which is nice. This move tends to be where all the sick plays and epic fails come from with Reinhardt, such as going off a cliff or smashing a bastion into a wall where he belongs. I'll discuss later pros and cons of this ability and when you should use it, because it can really screw over your team if you use it wrong, or really help your team if you use it right. Reinhardt's ultimate is Earth Shatter, which is amazing play potential. He'll bring his hammer down in front of them and knocking everyone down and damaging everyone in a frontal cone. You can do so much work with this. You can stun entire teams and then just mow them down with your hammer, or have your team mown down for you, depending how you feel. Never underestimate this ult. Right, so let's talk combos. First of all, we have the tank killer. This one's pretty straightforward and is a good way of eliminating other tanks. You hit them with an E, follow the E with a charge into a wall, and then one melee should finish them off. This is a very offensive combo and should normally be used when trying to take a point or get someone away from a payload or such. This does work on every sort of character in the game, not just tanks, but the E is kind of redundant against most other champions. The next combo requires you have your ultimate, but it is massive. It can completely change your game around. It kind of requires you to have the enemies grouped up on some sort of objective or pushing something together, and then for you to go charging in, preferably hitting someone, and then turning around and smacking them all with your ult. Here you can see me doing it, hitting the E, hitting the charge, smacking them with the ult, and then you just melee them all down. And before you know it, they're all dead and the objective's yours. You never know, you might even get to play the game with it as well, which is always nice. So now that we've gone over the abilities and some cool ways of using them together, let's talk about just generally what you should be doing with Reinhardt and how you can be useful to your team. Reinhardt is obviously a tank, arguably the tank, the most tanky of the tanks. And not only that, you can also make everyone on your team tanky, in a kind of way, by putting a massive shield in front of them. Here you can see me making this bastion much more secure in his position by putting the shield in front of them, and you'll be doing this a lot. You'll just be marching forward onto objectives with the payload, keeping your team safe while securing the win. When playing Reinhardt, it's important to remember that although you do good damage, you shouldn't go marching off on your own looking for people just to kill like a McCree or a Genji or a Tracer would. You want to stay in the heart of the action with your team, with a healer, keeping them safe and pressing the objective. Keep your shit like the default position of Reinhardt is to have your shield up and just to be walking forward. Occasionally, you will break it to slam, to ult, to charge, to E. But most of the time you're going to have that shield up and you're going to be soaking damage for your team, which is what you should be doing and what you want to be doing. On control maps like this, you want to get to the control point as quickly as possible and just be there. With your team behind you so they can all shoot in and start killing enemies. Here you see me fuck up a bit and I try and hit a stun on their tank and I go miles off into another room and they start, you know, taking the objective and dropping ultimates as a result of that because I'm not there. Luckily Roadhog was there to ult to protect, you know, to cover my mistake a little bit. But you just, main thing is it's all about the objective of Reinhardt, and this is why it's so easy to win with him because you're not dicking about, you're not going off chasing kills like a lot of other people do or running away because you're about to be killed, you're there. Same with payloads, you just want to, normally what I like to do actually is I just stand on top of the payload, kind of at the front of it, and just put the shield up and you just slide along, nice and happy, and you get it done. You know, this is obviously can be countered by the enemy by getting above you with Pharahs or getting behind you with Tracers and such. You do need to watch out for that, but you can get the payload a very, you know, surprisingly long distance by doing this.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so here's something really important for people looking to play Reinhardt. Just don't break your shield randomly, right? I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but you'll be there in front of your team with your shield, and they're relying on it, right? You don't even understand how much like damage you're preventing them taking by doing it. So often I see a Reinhardt just there with his shield in front of me, you know, I'll be playing Soldier or someone shooting for it, trying to kill people, and he'll just drop his shield for no reason. It's not taking any damage, like, or taking lethal damage, and he'll just drop his shield to E or to randomly charge off, like, for no reason, and then all of a sudden he's miles away and you're standing there for no defense now and you get slaughtered. And just don't do it as a Reinhardt. You just gotta sometimes not chase the kill to protect your team. I'm kind of a bit, you know, guilty of this. I will go chasing kills as Reinhardt because I like smacking people with the hammer, but if you want to play well and play better than me, just don't break that shield for no reason. Protect the people behind you. This is like one of the main things about the shield. On the flip side though, sometimes having your shield up can be wrong. If there's a Tracer just dancing around you or they're all kind of coming in on you, you don't need the shield up, you just want to man up and start smacking with the hammer and maybe try and charge someone. Because the shield doesn't, you know, it's not going to protect you from a Tracer, as you saw there. Like if I'd just been standing there with the shield, the Tracer would try and get around it, and if she didn't think she actually could get around it, she'd just go away. There you've got to kill her, get her out of the way. Or at least, you know, force her to retreat. So let's talk about the charge. It's a really good offensive and defensive move, whether it be taking tanks out of the fight away from your team, trying to get into their back line, hitting someone like a Bastion. It's the best way to kill a Bastion. It just does it, instantly kills them. No dicking about, they're dead. You have to be careful not to mess up with it though. Sometimes you can just go charging in and you're completely vulnerable while charging in, and if you hit no one and hit a wall, you're kind of stunning yourself for a little bit and you can die quite easily doing this. One thing to try and avoid, right, is going off the map with this. On this map, for instance, you can just go flying off the map on the first control point, and it's, you know, it's embarrassing, right? You don't want to do that, and then you're also dead, and there's no way for yourself bringing back. I'm also sure this goes without saying for a lot of people, but a nice, you know, hack for this ability is it helps you get back into the fray, back towards the objective or the control point. Just as soon as you spawn, straight out the gates. Try and navigate your way around a little bit and get back into the fight. Here actually, as this wasn't what I was planning to talk about, but you can see kind of a good example of the shield use. When you get hit by a Zarya ult like that, just keep your shield up. You're not going to get anything done by swinging your hammer, just keep your shield up. You're probably still going to die because they're going to surround you, but sometimes you'll get lucky and they'll just be actually just shoot straight into it, and you can actually save your team quite a lot that way. Okay, so let's start to think about when to pick Reinhardt. Obviously, if you're playing with a group of 5 other friends and you're kind of in a team, you should be talking team comps like amongst each other and what to pick and certain synergies, but I'm going to talk mostly for just about kind of solo queue and ranked play. If you're inclined to playing tanks like myself, and you can see that there is no tank in your team, Reinhardt is the default. It's that 2,000 points health shield is too good to just not have, right? If you already have a Reinhardt in your team, then you can start thinking about what kind of secondary support tank you want to go with that Reinhardt. But 9 times out of 10 in a solo queue game, you just want a Reinhardt, okay? In that team, you want that shield. It's so beneficial for pushing objectives. The kind of what I'm basically saying is that unless there's already a Reinhardt on the team, you should kind of always play Reinhardt. Sometimes you'll find yourself in a position where your team will have no support, and that's kind of more important than not having, than having any other tank in a support is better than having a support tank, a Reinhardt, and no dedicated healer. So keep that in mind, but most of the time, picking Reinhardt's a good decision, you know, and that's one of the great things about learning this champion and being good at him is that you'll get to use him a lot. There's no maps that are particularly bad for him, some are worse than others, but it's just always a good pick, so just keep that in mind, yeah? If you have a support tank with you whilst you're playing Reinhardt, you are at liberty to be a bit more offensive than you would if it was just you. If it's just you, you kind of have to sit back and be kind of a defender role and just try and keep the team safe, as that's your job. But if you have another tank like I do in this game, like a Roadhog in this instance, you're allowed to be a bit more aggressive and go flying in and trying to kill people and just kind of disrupt them a little bit. I think I get play of the game here actually. Oh yeah, if I remember rightly, this play of the game is a really good example of one of the combos we're talking about. Ian, charge. I was aiming for Zyra, but I hit Lucio, which is just as good. You drop the ult, swing, smash, dead. It's a very strong move to do. So let's talk about when you don't want to pick him. As probably implied by what I was saying earlier, is there's not many occasions where you don't want to pick him, but obviously if you already have a Reinhardt, they get worse the more you have, so having 2 Reinhardts is considerably less efficient than having 1 Reinhardt. If your team already has 2 tanks, like 2 support tanks, again, although ideally you'd want one of them to be a Reinhardt rather than be something else, it's probably not a good idea to pick Reinhardt here because your team will be lacking damage. Also, if you can see that they have a lot of tank killers, such as Reaper for instance, you might want to switch out because Reaper doesn't work to Reinhardt if he gets behind the shield. So still you could make an argument that you should just stay Reinhardt and trust your team to deal with the Reaper. Alright, so I'll talk about the champions that he synergizes well with and he works well with on a team. Soldier is a good one. Soldier is very good at just standing behind you and shooting through your shield, and he can drop a health back as well to help you stay alive, especially if you're on the payload. It's like a lot of just passive health regen there, and you can really tank a lot of stuff. Bastion is very good with Reinhardt. You know, he sets up. Bastion's normally very weak to like a sniper or a Pharah, but if you're there with your shield in front of him, he becomes a lot stronger against that, and you can start doing some stuff with him. You know, it's pretty good. Very similar for Torbjorn. You can protect his turret against snipers and Pharah, especially when this is basically only really when you're on defense, but it's again very strong. Healer Rise, Mercy's very good with Reinhardt, just the pure dedicated health regen on Reinhardt, who already has so much health. It means they have to get through a shield, they have to get through your initial health, your armor, Mercy healing you, and to kind of synchronize with that, you keep Mercy alive very well as well. She has a massive space to be safe behind, so she can get picked off. So Mercy is a very good healer to pick with Reinhardt. So is Lucio. Lucio is more actually not the healing that makes him good with Reinhardt, it's the speed. Reinhardt's quite a slow character. Having that speed boost with him kind of covers one of his weaknesses and makes you a lot easier to chase people down and whack them with the hammer. Also, the ult is very good with Reinhardt, like getting that extra massive burst of shield means you can just go diving into an objective, especially on some of the harder maps, such as... Alright, so let's talk about what other tanks he synergizes well with, because this is quite important, because the 2-tank build is quite popular right now. With Reinhardt, it's normally always one of them. To go with the Reinhardt, I personally, and this is just kind of like generally, obviously in certain situations other stuff is better, but generally I quite like him with Roadhog and I quite like him with Zyra. With Roadhog, he's just bringing people in with the hook into Reinhardt's zone is pretty brutal, and the ult synergizes quite well as well. I know it doesn't seem like it, but if you knock them all down and you can just kind of massive CC with the Roadhog ult and the Reinhardt ult, and you can just keep a whole team locked up for what seems like forever. With Zyra, it goes without saying really, isn't it? She can put another shield on you that makes you even more tanky and gives you, like, say you're communicating with this other tank, you know your shield's about to go down and you're facing down like a Bastion or a Pharah or someone with high damage. You say to her, look, my shield's about to break, can I have your E? She'll put it on you, you get some time then to breathe and to get your shield back up so you can put it back up. Also, her ult's just good in general, right? It's good for pretty much every champion. Reinhardt, if she ults and they get a good amount of density there, you just walk in and you smack them with your hammer, you just cleave all of them down at once, and it's beautiful. much as I love Diva, I don't think there's particularly any synergy between them. They're both good at blocking damage, which is nice, I guess, but they're both, they're both fine and they're both good individually, but I don't think there's a reason to pick them together more so than others. Right, so let's talk about champions he's strong against. A couple of these champions he's strong and weak against, which seems counterintuitive, but if you hear me out, you'll understand. First of all, he's good against Bastion. If you hit him with the charge, he's just dead. Bastion can't move when he's in turret form, at least not quickly. So you're pretty much guaranteed a free hit there. You can aim at least a little bit. Strong against McCree, you can survive his flashbang cliff unload combo, so he doesn't just get a free kill on you. You block his ult, which can really piss off McCree. Likewise with the Soldier 76, you block everything he does. You block his ult. Pretty nice. Farah, you do block her ult, but I wouldn't say you're strong against her. You're strong against both the snipers, being Hanzo and Widowmaker. You can block their shots. You can block their shots onto other people. Hanzo ult's good against you because you're quite slow, but if you have any sort of like awareness, you'll be able to dodge it. You'll hear it coming, and you'll just step aside because it normally be aimed at you because you're on the payload or on the objective. So just keep that in mind. Zenyatta is really weak against Reinhardt. He has so little health, and you just smash him down really quickly. So weak against Reaper, he can get away from you pretty easily, and like Reaper does to every tank, he just melts you. I'd say you're weak against Tracer because it's really hard to land a hit on her. Granted, if you hit her, she's fucking dead, right? You kill her in like 1.5 swings. But she can dart around, get behind your shield, drop a bomb on you. She's really annoying, and even though you don't want to, you'll get distracted by her, and you might turn your shield away from the rest of their team, and your teammates will suffer for it. You're weak against Bastion. I know I said you're strong against him, but he can just destroy your shield so quickly like no one else can, and that can be a real problem. Farah, she can get above you, which is really annoying because you don't want to have to tilt your shield upwards because it doesn't help anyone out. Unless it's just her, it can really leave you exposed. And lastly is Symmetra. I hate Symmetra, man. You'll be marching through, you've got your shield up, so you're going particularly slow. You're trying to get through like a choke point so you can help your team. And all those turrets are just there, aren't they? And they're just whittling you down, and you can't stop to break them, like to destroy the turrets, because your shield goes and everyone on your team dies, and you die because everyone else will shoot at you. Oh, it's so annoying. You really need to, like a Tracer or something on your team to help get rid of them and keep you safe. Again, Mei is annoying. She kind of can get around your shield and freeze you, and when you're frozen, you can't have your shield up, and again, you will just die. She's so annoying, man, and the ult as well, because you can't block that in any way. So it gets you pretty good. Right, so thank you for watching. I hope that this was useful to you, even if you didn't learn too much off it. I hope you learned something, a couple of tips, a couple of tricks. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like, maybe even a subscribe. It will help me know that I'm doing something good, and I'll make more for other champions. If you have anything to add that you think will be useful for other players, drop it in the comments. Let's all help each other out here, get better at the game together. Thanks guys, I'll leave the rest of this game play. I think we lose, but whatever. Enjoy your days.
Helden sterben nicht.
No one can hide from my sight.
60 seconds. Seconds remaining.
We don't have much time. Don't let up. Junkrat primed and ready.
Helden sterben nicht.
Defeat. Play